Hello and welcome. This is our live event for social media. We are now on 3 platforms. We are live on Facebook. Welcome, my Facebook friends and the members of the Manifestation family. If you have joined our private group, anyone can join that, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Instagram. You can head over to Facebook. We have something called Manifestation Family. It's a private group where we would welcome you in. And for the Manifestation family, we're doing special things and special events for the Manifestation family. So we'd love to have more and more folks join the Manifestation family. Today, we're going to do a very special session. And this session is designed to share with you some of the absolute greatest lessons that I've learned from my good friend and mentor, Bob Proctor. And a little bit later on, we're going to have a webinar that we're going to invite you to as well, that you can register for, where Bob's sharing some of the greatest lessons he's learned from Wallace D. Wattles. So Celine has a link for you that you can check out. And Celine, if you can post that link, that would be wonderful. What I also suggest that you do, and this is something that I found that from the 41 years that I've been now studying Bob Proctor, one of the greatest things that makes a big difference in my life, and what has made a big difference in my life, is not only listening to the materials, but taking notes, often having a pen and paper ready. And what I do when I take notes is I've got a couple different strategies. One is I'm often taking notes where I'm listening to what the speaker is saying and just getting my own understanding, because what happens is you won't remember it, or you'll remember a fraction of it. And you may remember what I'm covering or what anyone else is teaching in any of the events. You'll remember it for a certain period of time, but the memories fade and it goes away. And the way that you really anchor in the knowledge is by taking notes. But the way to take it another step further is by creating some lists of things, actions that you're going to follow through with while or after you're on an event or while you're watching some training. So I'm going to make some recommendations here during the time that we have together, because I'm here to bring value. That's my purpose in life, is to bring value to others so that you can make some positive changes in your life as well. So whether you're on here for the first time or you've been here before, I'm always creating new content. And I love doing these events. I also love taking questions. So if you have some questions for me, I'm happy to take your questions today as well. I want to welcome you. We've got a number of folks that have joined us live on YouTube, number of people that are joining us live on Instagram, and of course on Facebook as well. Great to see you here, seeing some familiar faces as well. Okay, so the purpose of this call is to share with you the best lessons that I've learned from Bob Proctor from 41 years of studying him, being a friend with him. We were in business together for a while as well. Bob and I ran a program together called Making $1 Million Look Small. We ran that for several years. And of course, not only did I get to know him, but also co-teach with him, which was such a blessing. And thank you for the comment about loving my new book. Actually, I have one of my computers here is on a stack of copies of The Demand Principle. This is my 18th book. It was just released. You can go to thedemandprinciple.com. It's selling for $7.97 on Amazon.com, and it's on all the other Amazon sites in the world. To me, this is the best book I've ever written. I'm receiving comments. Just before we got on the call today, I was on Facebook and there was a message there from Jan, who told me that she loved it. She couldn't put it down. I actually got a text from a friend of mine the other day who said she's on her 3rd reading of The Demand Principle. I have personally read it many times myself. I keep it handy. I was reading it to my grandson, James, last weekend. He's 8 years of age, almost 9. He loved it. These are great lessons to teach your kids of whatever age. I actually got another text today from a friend of mine who wants one for her daughter-in-law. So there are, it is a fabulous book. It really is. But more importantly, it's a book that's changing lives. And if you want yours to change, I suggest you get a copy of The Demand Principle. Another one of the nice blessings is that Just yesterday, I received a bunch of these little demand cards that I had ordered from Zazzle. And you get an electronic copy of the demand card as well when you get a copy of the demand principle, because we have a whole bunch of bonuses. So we still have the bonuses going on. They're available to you. I narrated the book. You can get a copy of that. And we have the demand card as a download. I put on the back of my demand card, your success is absolutely guaranteed. I think that's a phenomenal statement. And if you like that, your success is absolutely guaranteed. Write it down, put it on a card, and keep it in front of you. So the other thing that I was going to say is that I do whenever I'm taking any training with Bob or any other type of training is I will also make a note of the things that I will do to follow through on the training, because it's never enough to just take the training or watch the videos or attend the seminars. You must follow through. You've got to apply it. And I believe that's why I've had such significant change in my life, is because I've had a wonderful teacher with Bob Proctor, and I stay in the study, and also I apply what I'm learning from this great man and many other great ones as well. And so I suggest to make a list of some of the things that you will do once I go through the top things that I've learned from Bob Proctor. Also, Celine is going to post a link for you for a webinar that Bob's teaching that I suggest. So as far as things to do, that would be something I would suggest that you do, is make sure that you check out the Bob Proctor webinar, because it's absolutely amazing. And he has so much great materials to help you as well. Okay, so the first thing that I learned from Bob Proctor, and these aren't in any particular order, by the way. So I say the first thing, it's not the first thing I ever learned from him, but it certainly is one of the things I learned from Bob Proctor. And it goes like this. Oh, thank you, Celine. I see Celine is posting PeggyMcColl.com/Bob. PeggyMcColl.com/Bob. That's where you can check out the webinar. All right, so here's what Bob said. He said, you cannot change the time you got out of bed this morning. So what does he really mean by that? And this is going to be my interpretation. So when I'm sharing the great lessons that I've learned from Bob, I'm going to share them through my own filter. Bob is not the only person that I've studied. I've studied Napoleon Hill, or Earl Nightingale, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Wayne Dyer, Maxwell Maltz, Deepak Chopra. I mean, I've studied them all. Some of the classics as well, Thomas Troward, Wallace D. Wattles, Catherine Ponder, Florence Scovel Shinn, etc. And so when Bob says you can't change the time you got out of bed this morning, what I believe that means is you can't change the past. You can learn from it for sure. Learn from it, but move past. Don't cry over it. It's not going to change anything. I remember one time Bob had said, don't cry over anything that won't cry over you. That's another lesson. Don't cry over anything that won't cry over you. So money's not going to cry over you. Bills aren't going to cry over you. Pandemics aren't going to cry over you. So don't cry over anything that won't cry over you. Great lesson. Very, very valuable lesson. You've got to maintain a positive attitude always. Now, I didn't write that down as one of the things that he had said, but it's definitely one of the things that I've learned, is that having a positive attitude at any time, when things are going well, when things aren't going well, is so good for you. It's going to bring good for you. So maintain a positive outlook, positive attitude in everything. And I know there's a lot of people who are really challenged right now with what's going on in the world, but it's, how you do anything is how you do everything. So look at it in a positive way. What's great about this? Now, that may be a strange question to ask yourself, but what that question does is it invites you to see things a little differently. For example, I'm typically traveling. I speak at all Bob's events, and I'm traveling to Los Angeles a lot and traveling for my own events and other things. And for the last 2 months, I haven't traveled anywhere. And I have loved being home. It's been wonderful being home. It's been great. And my husband was pointing out that typically when I travel, I always travel first class and always stay in suites and, beautiful resorts or hotels. And so I don't have those expenses. So there's a good thing, right? And of course, it gives me a lot more time at home with my family, with my dogs, and investing more time with my family. And I love that. So there's always something good to focus on. Another thing that Bob taught me is that, and this to me is the greatest lesson that Bob Proctor taught me. And the following is that great lesson, that when you decide that you would love to have something in your life, whatever that may be, and Bob likes to teach people how to set stretch goals or C-type. He calls them C-type goals. And a C-type goal is a stretch goal. And the stretch goal would be something that you have no idea how you're going to accomplish, and you've never accomplished it before. And the thing that I've learned from him is you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how you're going to accomplish any goal that you set for yourself. Just decide what you would love. What would you love? It's a great question to ask yourself. Just ask yourself that question. What would I love? What would I love? What would I love? And then when you get that answer and you embrace that idea as if it's yours already, and you really feel it in your heart that it's yours, you will manifest it into form. And it's going to take some time, and there's going to absolutely take some discipline. Discipline is essential for success, but you don't have to know how you're going to do it. And I have experienced that so many times in my life with setting objectives and setting goals and stretching myself so many times. And by doing that, accomplishing these goals, not knowing how I was going to do it, but in hindsight, we can look back and go, wow, isn't it amazing that I did that and that I accomplished that? So just remember, you do not have to know how. You can certainly connect the dots looking backwards, but looking forward, you probably don't even see any dots or any idea, but that's okay. You're probably going to feel fear. That's okay too. It's also part of the process. Bob also taught me a very valuable lesson, and that valuable lesson is to stay in the study. Stay in the study. It's absolutely essential. Bob Proctor is a phenomenal teacher. He's also a phenomenal student. And what Bob says is that phenomenal students are typically phenomenal teachers, or the other way around. Phenomenal teachers are typically phenomenal students. And Bob will also say that he will be in the study and stay in the study until the day he dies. I'm the same. Absolutely believe it. The reason for that is the following. We, as human beings, are either getting better or we're getting worse. We are getting better or we're getting worse. So you get to decide which side of that equation do you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side that's getting better, or do you want to be on the side that's getting worse? Now, if you're here right now, I suspect you want to be on the side that's getting better. And that is the best place to be. So how do you stay on the side of getting better? How is by studying, staying in the study, getting in the study, staying in the study. I became an absolute addict when I was 19 years of age. Not an addict to drugs or alcohol. I was an addict for these materials, for personal development materials. So the very first time I heard Bob Proctor speak, which was January 1979, he just opened up my mind and my awareness to something that was a concept, this concept of personal and professional improvement that I had never been introduced before. And maybe I was just ignorant of it, but I just decided, I wanted my life to change. I had a deep desire for better results in my life. So I committed myself to study. So over the years, over 41 years, and still to this day, I constantly read materials, watch videos, take programs, attend programs, speak at programs continually, because I'm staying on the side of getting better. Now, in addition to that, another question that I've heard people ask is, how do I accelerate my results? In other words, how do I speed things up? How do I get better results faster? How can I earn money faster than I've ever earned before? The answer to that question is that you must expand your level of awareness. Now, your awareness could be knowledge. It's like I teach a program called $1 Million in a Month. And that program has been designed to show people how they can earn $1 million in a month or more or less, whatever they want. It's using this valuable thing that we're connected to right now called the internet. But there's so much more than that. So we created a program called $1 Million in a Month. And so how did I get to this point where I'm running this wildly successful business, launching books, my 18th book, making it an international bestseller within a matter of hours? How is that? Why is that? By acquiring knowledge. I learned how to do this and then applied what I learned executed it, and then achieved their results. Well, that's how we get results. So for those that want to accelerate their results, they want to get better results, become a very serious student. Hey, thank you. Awesome program. Whipsum said, you want to become a better student, like a really serious student. And, part of what the message is in the demand principle is about creating your demands. And demand, the word means an insistent and peremptory request as if made by right, but also it's not only about demanding what your dreams are, what your goals are to manifest in your life, it's about demanding more of yourself. And demanding more of yourself means that what if you were or chose to create some demands for yourself, perhaps daily demands, and those daily demands are that you're going to demand that you're going to learn how to effectively do something. Or the demand that you set for yourself is that you're going to demand that you're going to study a certain amount per day. Maybe you're going to create a study group. I know some study groups have started for the demand principle, and or you want to start one yourself that you'd love to get a demand principle study group going. So that's how you accelerate your results. Just become a very, very serious student. Other ways is by hiring a mentor and really working closely with a mentor. Now, typically that's a more significant investment, but I have personally found by hiring high-end mentors, Bob Proctor has been a mentor of mine, worth every single penny, because they blaze the trail before you. It's like when you take a program, you take a course like our author program as an example. I've done 18 books, self-published, published, New York Times, international bestseller, created multiple streams of revenue from my books. I know what I'm doing because I've been there. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying by the results, or as the quote goes, by their fruits, you will know them. And Bob teaches that as well. That's a great lesson that I've learned. You want to get better results in a certain area of your life, find the people that know how to get the results and learn from them. All right, that's what you want to be doing. Another great lesson that I learned from Bob is that the following, and this is actually a statement that's taken right out of the Bible. And it's not only Bob that taught this, but the first time I heard it was from Bob. And it goes like this: faith without works is dead. So what does that mean? Faith without works is dead. Well, you could have all the faith in the world that you know that the laws of the universe are on your side, and you know that all you have to do to manifest what you desire is by following some very simple manifestation techniques. But if you do nothing at all, you're not going to manifest anything. All right, you've got to move into action. Now, quite often, I've been asked the question, well, what action if you don't know how? Well, here's what happens, and I really want you to listen to this, and I want you to understand this. When you decide you're going to manifest something in your life, whatever that is, let's say you've decided you're going to manifest a dream home, and I've done that time and time again. When you've decided you're going to manifest a dream home, and you have no idea how you're going to accomplish that, and then you begin to determine, what do I need to believe in order to accomplish this? What do I need to feel in order to have this? And then you go straight to the feeling states, imagining and acting as if you already have it in your life. What happens is, boom, ideas will come to you. All of a sudden, you'll hear something, see something, an idea will fly into your mind while you're in the shower, and you will know exactly what to do. Now, what's a typical thing to do if you're looking for a dream home? To go online, right? Like, it's so easy nowadays to find things online. That is an action step. That is an action step. So Bob said, faith without works is dead. You want to make sure that you're doing something, doing things that are moving you in the direction of your goals. But part of the doingness is in the beingness. And what do I mean by that? So if you have a desire to have a dream home, we'll use that as an example. We're going to go with that for now. And it's a home that is, let's say you found one and you know it's significantly higher than the home that you're in now, or you don't even own a home right now, and you found something that you love and it's a couple $1 million, let's say, as an example, and you begin to feel as if you are the owner of that home, and you'll get into a practice daily of demanding that you get that alignment within yourself, knowing that that home is yours. Perhaps you listen to your Power Life script every single day, confirming and reaffirming every single day, impressing it upon your subconscious mind through space-time repetition that home is already yours. Well, that's work. That's part of the work. That's part of what's required in order to have that. But what a lot of people think that they do is they need to just, write out a demand card. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have that dream home, and do nothing. Well, no, that's not the way it works. Part of the doingness is the beingness, as I said, which means you've got to feel as if it's here now and know that it's yours, and know, as I have on the back of my demand cards, that your success is absolutely guaranteed, because it is guaranteed. But you've got to get in harmony with it. You have to do the work. Now, the another thing that Bob Proctor taught me is that you've got to study the laws of the universe. The laws of the universe are so precise that when we understand what they are, then we'll recognize that when we get in harmony with the laws of the universe, that we can manifest anything. You will realize that you can manifest anything. And so a law would be the law of cause and effect. What you put out, you get back, right? The law of vibration, which is really the primary law to the law of attraction, which means you've got to feel as if whatever it is you desire is already yours right now. So it's important to understand these laws. The law of gestation. The law of gestation decrees that there is a period of time before all things will manifest into form. The law of compensation. The law of compensation determines that the amount of money that you're going to earn is going to be in direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So understanding these laws is important as well in order for you to create success. Bob also taught me to leave people with the impression of increase. Now, leaving people with the impression of increase means that you leave people better off once they're in your presence by being in your presence. Maybe you compliment them. Maybe you make them laugh. Maybe you have fun with them. You dance, you sing, you entertain, whatever it is. You leave people with the impression of increase. Hopefully, I'm doing that for you right now. This is an event that we decided to do today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we're doing it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'm here sharing with you the greatest lessons that I've learned from Mr. Bob Proctor in the last 41 years. So hopefully you're getting an increase in understanding and awareness, and I'm leaving you with an impression of increase. That's something that Bob taught me. He learned from Napoleon Hill. He learned from Earl Nightingale. And one of the things that I really appreciate about the teachers, Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, is that they also talked about how important it is to be of service. Like every day I wake up and think, how will I serve today? How will I serve today better than I served yesterday? This is why I'm in business. This is why we're here. This is why Celine is here. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve you. We have no expectation of anything in return. We're here to serve you. And I believe that's really important. That's why I started the morning manifestation messages that I deliver 3 times a week for free to our subscribers. I create these videos, and we have these videos captioned. We send them to somebody so that he can take part of the message and put it at the beginning so that you get the idea of what the video is about right in the beginning. We have them merged together. I pay people to get these videos to you, and they cost you nothing. They cost you nothing. They cost me time. They cost me money. They cost me energy, and we deliver them to you. So these are the things that you do from your heart without an expectation of receiving anything in return. But when you bring value to the world, it's the law of cause and effect. Value comes back to you. Good comes back to you. Anytime you give something away, your love, your thoughts, your knowledge, it's going to come back to you. You give out love, you get back love. You give out fun, you get back fun. You're having fun, right? You give out something of value, you will receive something of value in return. The next one is that successful people, I love this one. This is one of my favorites. Successful people are willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. I think about a story that I heard years ago by Zig Ziglar, and Zig Ziglar has passed on now, but he was someone that I got to know and studied as well. And I remember Zig Ziglar speaking to a whole group of young people, young adults that wanted to become professional speakers. And Zig Ziglar was telling the story about when he first became a professional speaker. One of the things that he did was he used to drive anywhere and everywhere to speak because he wanted to get in the practice, right? And so he offered to go and speak at a particular event. He didn't have the money to go. He had barely enough money for gas. And what he did was he drove up to this event, he spoke at the event, and he drove back home. And it was a several-hour drive because he didn't have enough money to pay for a hotel. And he did that because he was willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And someone in the audience had said to Zig Ziglar, well, I wouldn't do that. And Zig Ziglar said, then you don't deserve to succeed. And that's the thing, I get up early every morning. I've got rituals that I do every single day, visualization exercises, gratitude exercises, doing my affirmations, doing my mirror work, reading every day, working with my study partners, writing in my demand journal, writing in my goal journal. I do these things every single day without fail. They are habits of mine. I listen to my Power Life script multiple times every single day. I've already done those things today. Now, I know there's a whole lot of other people who sit back and they go, oh yeah, isn't she lucky? Luck has nothing to do with success. Or luck will come to you when you're doing these things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. There's work involved, but what happens is when you get into the practice or the habit of doing these things every single day, it doesn't feel like work. It feels natural. It's like when you're a little kid and you're taught to brush your teeth every day, brush your teeth every morning, brush your teeth every night before you go to bed, brush your teeth after every meal. What happens is because you're told to do that over and over again, it becomes a habit. You don't have to think about it, right? It's the same kind of idea with the habits of success. They become habits. You don't think about them anymore. They're not chores. They're not tedious. They're enjoyable. But more importantly, they bring so much good to you and to your life. All right. Now, Celine has been posting the link for a special webinar that I'm recommending that you check out that Bob Proctor is delivering, where he's sharing some of the greatest lessons that he learned from The Science of Getting Rich with Wallace D. Wattles. So thank you, Celine, for putting that there at peggymccall.com/Bob. Now, I have a couple more lessons that I want to share with you, and then I'm going to answer some questions. The next lesson is anything is possible if you set your mind to it. It was interesting as we were preparing last weekend, I was preparing for this event that we're doing here together. And my husband and I have been together now 15 years, more than 15 years. And he's retired. He was in the military. He served in the Canadian military for 30 years, and then he retired. He was a pilot. And Denny is not as addicted to these materials as I am. But Denny is one of those people that they call an unconscious competent. Denny has a wonderful attitude. He was raised in a beautiful, loving family, and he wasn't raised with all these paradigms that were all messed up like I was. So I went to work on it. Denny didn't have to go to work on that because he's been blessed with this amazing family. So I asked Bob or Denny, I asked him because he's been with me to Bob events. We've had meals, many meals with Bob. We've become friends. Denny has become friends with Bob. Bob loves Denny. And so I asked Denny, I said, Denny, what are the lessons that you would say are the greatest lessons that you've learned from Bob Proctor? And that was one of them. Anything is possible if you set your mind to it. And that is the absolute truth. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You just have to decide what you want. It's as simple as that. And then the final lesson that I'm going to share with you before I go over to the questions that have been asked is that you don't need to be, and this is one of Denny's as well, you don't need to be a genius to be successful. You see, Bob went to high school, but didn't spend a lot of time there. I think he went to high school for about 2 months. He didn't like high school, so he left. I went to high school for 4 years, and I did graduate, but I think that was a miracle all on its own. See, when I went to high school, I was like Bob, bored. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to learn what they were teaching me. And so I was kind of like a little bit of a rebel in high school. I was not one of these straight A students who was, kicking butt and taking names in high school. I made it through high school, barely squeaked by, and graduated, which was a miracle. And my sister, of course, she was a honor student. She was a little more disciplined and studious than I was. But the point of the statement is that, there are a lot of people who have, degrees, as Bob says, coming off the end of their business card. And it's not that he's saying anything about intellect. Intellect's a great thing to have. It's great to acquire that wisdom and that understanding. But it really comes down to applying these principles in your life where you are experiencing the success. And so anyone can do it. Bob, who went to high school for a couple months, is a very successful, highly regarded teacher of these materials. I barely graduated high school, went a little bit further than Bob did, and was raised in a very poor family. I mean, I went to school in ripped clothes. I mean, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by the way I looked. We lived in a tiny 600 square foot home. I mean, we really were struggling. My parents struggled to keep the roof over our head and put food on the table. And so I wasn't raised in a silver spoon, rich family. It was quite the opposite. It was an abusive and dysfunctional family. But I decided to clean up my own life, and I did. I committed to it. And was it work? Sure, it was work. And did it take time? Yes, it took time. But I'm so blessed and so grateful that I invested the time. And that's what I really want to encourage you to do, is check out that webinar that we're putting the link here for with Bob Proctor, because I absolutely know that you're going to get so much value out of it. Now, we've got a couple questions that have come in that I'm going to address right now. The first one is from Rahul, who says, whenever I hear or see you, it ignites me to reach my goal. But post that, I lose interest. What to do? Watch lots of me then, Rahul. Go and watch stuff watch all those morning manifestation videos. You could do something like that. But also what you're saying is that your inspiration is coming from outside, where you can get inspiration from inside. How can you get inspiration from inside? You can get inspiration from inside by deciding what you would love. Like, get some really wonderful goals that excite you at the same time. And also what I recommend that you do is create your own power life script. Like, I'm listening to Me Talk to Me every single day, which is my power life script. It's the description of me living my absolutely amazing life that I'm very blessed to live. And so that's what really, really inspires me. So it's you create it, you write it, you record it, you listen to it, and you're going to find you're going to be absolutely inspired by it. All right, Raiden says, is this relevant to someone with a disability? It's relevant to anybody who can fog a mirror. So yes, absolutely, this is relevant. It's relevant to anyone and everyone. Definitely. It's definitely relevant. So thank you for asking. I appreciate the question. The next question is from Dawn. During this time, how do you keep your focus on your dreams? Dawn, I love that you're asking this question. I love that Dawn is asking that question. What time? There's no difference today to 3 months ago. I don't see it as a different time. I understand there's a pandemic going on in the world. My dreams are as alive today as they were on February 1st, 2019. And the reason is because there's such momentum that is created from what I've been talking about here today, by having the demands that I've set for myself, by listening to my ideal life every single day, by doing these things every single day that I do every single day. My dreams are just as alive, if not more alive today than they've ever been. You got to understand that things change, times change. This is a very unique experience that we're all experiencing here on Earth right now. It was over 100 years ago when the last pandemic occurred. They didn't have the internet. People are finding new ways of doing things. We ran a series of seminars in the first month of the pandemic called Create Your Own Economy. And if you like, Celine can post a link there so you can find out more about it. I think it's on the Manifestation Toolbox. And the Manifestation Toolbox is free. So go there, manifestationtoolbox.com. Go there and check it out, because there's a number of resources. So the thing that you can do is, it's not that you're ignoring what's going on in the world and plugging your ears and plugging your eyes or covering your eyes, pretending that it's not going on. It's happening. But it doesn't have to impact you. Anything outside of you does not have to impact you. It's up to you. I was talking yesterday in one of my classes about a great book that was written by a gentleman by the name of Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning. And here's a gentleman that was locked away in a concentration camp. And he just decided they can take away my freedom. They can take away my things. They can take away my clothes. But what they cannot ever take away is my mind, my imagination. That's something that's always yours, and you're always in control of it. Nobody makes you feel anything. You're always in control of how you feel. And if you're feeling impacted by the pandemic right now, then get in the study, get a copy of the Demand Principle, go over to the Manifestation Toolbox. You watch the manifestation messages that I'm sending out the morning manifestation messages I send out every single day. I have so much stuff, so much free stuff, so many free webinars, so much free content. Just saturate your mind with that to put yourself right in the right mind frame, the right mindset, so that you're only feeling good and excited and connected to your dreams. Because dreams don't die. We allow them to die. And I shouldn't even include myself in that. You allow them to die. Just reignite them, get excited about it again, get back in the study, become that serious student, and you're going to find that your dreams are going to be just as alive, if not more alive now than they were before. So I love that you asked that question, Dawn. Thank you. Question, as a mother, how do you find the time to do all of these tasks? Well, my son's 27, so I have a grandson who's 8, but even when my grandson's here, and he's a busy little guy who I love to the moon and back, I get up earlier. And you know what? By doing these things, I've been doing these things for years. And when my son was young and I was a single mom, he observed what I was doing. And children learn from what they observe from their parents. So you can do gratitude with your children. You can do affirmations with your children. You can do visualization with your children. Your children probably do it even better than you do. But all of these things can be done with your children. And if you're doing something like studying or whatever, like I used to always have on in my home videos and like VHS videos when they were VHS style, or DVDs when DVDs were popular. I was always watching and listening and reading. So my son was exposed to all these materials by being in the home. I used to have reminder cards and messages. And even in my office now, I've got signs here. Your success is absolutely guaranteed. Peggy, now that your dream is fulfilled, how do you feel? These are wonderful things to have around children. Absolutely suggest. Last weekend, when I received my very first copy of the Demand Principle, James, my grandson, who's almost 9, he was here. And when the box arrived, it was just like a little kid on Christmas Day, like, look, honey, look what arrived. And we went into the kitchen. I opened the box and we went and sat outside in the backyard in the patio. And I said, do you mind if I read to you? And he's like, sure. And so I started reading. And I read a chapter and I say, you want some more? And he's like, yeah, this is great. So I read another chapter. Then I read another chapter. We got to page 101. It was dinner time. So we stopped reading. But kids will eat this stuff up. They love it. And it's such a great time to teach children these materials. Brian Proctor, who's a great friend of mine, who's Bob Proctor's son, will often talk about the things that his father did when he was young. As a child, when he was going to bed, his father would come in and he put his hand on Brian's chest and he would just say, tomorrow you're going to wake up feeling refreshed. You're going to have a wonderful day, or you're confident. And he would say these things to impregnate these ideas into Brian's subconscious mind, because children's minds are wide open. They are so receptive. So you want to be putting in and planting in these great ideas and great messages for your children as well. One of the series of books that I bought my son when he was young is a book series that's completely out of print right now called The Value Tales. And it was like the value of persistence, the value of love, the value of understanding. And they were stories that were written about different people, like famous people. And I used to read those as bedtime stories to my son, Michelle, because they were positive. They were inspiring. I still have them. Actually, they're downstairs. They're not in my office right now, but I've read them to my grandson, James, as well, when he's been here. So, read to your kids, read them inspiring materials, or talk to them or teach them materials. And that is one of the best things that you can do. It'll be good for them. It's going to be good for you as well. All right, guys. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to be back with you again. I want to recommend that you head over to peggymccall.com/Bob. Be sure to check out the special webinar that Bob has put together. He has been my greatest mentor, the most impactful person in my life as far as success is concerned. I mean, I've learned so much from him. He's an exceptional man, but really he understands success principles better than anyone I've ever met on this planet or anyone that I've ever studied on this planet. What I love about Bob is that he really distills these ideas down into such a simplistic way that you'll understand it. And it's important to understand it because you want to understand it so that you can apply it. All right. So it's great to be back with you guys again. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back again next week with some more content, some more lessons. I look forward to seeing you again at that time. Have yourself a wonderful day. All right. Bye-bye for now.